So I hope everyone is having a great Sunday. This is hopefully going to add to your Sunday being great. FYI, everyone, I am at home and I have four children. So if you hear some giggling or laughing in the background, please accept my apologies. I was talking on mute. Thank you for joining, Mariana. We will be just waiting a couple more minutes for a few more people to join. So we'll start at 5:03, 5:05. A funny thing just happened right now. I'm on Facebook Live as well, and I don't know if you guys know, but there's a delay on Facebook Live. And so whenever I was talking, I could hear myself talking in my ear. I was like, what is going on? So while we wait, just again, I wanted to let you all know that this will be recorded and we're also live on Facebook. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. And welcome to the Power Within webinar series. This point of the webinar is called Empowering Women to Own Their Careers. And I have myself, Antoinette Walton, as the moderator today, and Angela McKinney will be the guest speaker today. I'm so happy to have you all here. This is me, Antoinette Walton of We Empower Her LLC. And We Empower Her LLC, our mission here is to offer a unique educational experience for women by providing opportunities for women's empowerment. So we do these webinars once a month, just as a free resource to the community to help empower women in all ways that we can. And this not being any different, this is a webinar to help women in their careers, to own their own careers. And I am a big advocate for helping women do that. And I just wanted to share with you and get an expert in here with you as well. So before we jump into the content, I do want to do a little activity with you all. So this activity is going to be 10 minutes and we're going to be in the breakout room. So I'm going to split the whole group into into groups so that we could talk. And we're going to identify and share three shining moments in our work lives or our careers that have really stood out to us as shining moments. It could be an award, a compliment, or an impossible task achieved, a promotion, anything like that. And then when we come back, we'll share 2 to 3 moments from each group. Now, I think we have 5 people altogether. So it probably won't take 10 minutes to do this, but we have up to 10 minutes. And I will go into each room to see if you guys are ready to come out of the breakout rooms. And I'll be in one of them as well. So let's get started. Does anyone have any questions before we jump into the breakout room? Okay. And y'all, this is an interactive activity, or interactive webinar. So if you guys have any questions or if you want to say anything, if you want to share anything about your experiences and your careers during the webinar at any time, just let us know and we'll be happy to let you talk. So we are going to go into the breakout rooms. It may ask you a question like, do you want to go into your breakout room or something like that? Just say yes. So let's go. Hold on, guys, I'm creating them. If you're on the Facebook feed, just letting you know that we are in the breakout rooms, so you cannot see or hear anything that's happening in the breakout rooms. So once we come back, you'll be able to hear and see us when we come back. So please hold. Once again, everyone, we are in breakout rooms. So if you are on the Facebook Live, just wait just a couple more minutes and we'll be right back.
Did you want us to leave? Oh, me.
Yes, thank you. Everyone is coming back. You can leave, you have like 60 seconds to leave the room. Okay, I think we got everyone back. Welcome back, y'all. So I hope that was good for you guys. And so since we're back, I would like you guys to share 2 to 3 moments from each group. Maybe I don't know if you guys selected someone to speak or if individual people want to speak, but from group 1, what would you guys like to share?
You could go ahead and share your experience, Mariana.
All right. One of the ones that I mentioned or I talked about is, well, I'm a student in college right now. And when I was in high school, my senior year of high school, I had an internship or rather mentorship with a criminal defense lawyer where I had to create a pro bono organization and a free legal clinic. And I created it by myself. It was very fun. I was very proud of it. And it, like that event, I kind of failed at the advertising part a bit. And then I had to redo it. And I learned from my mistakes. And that was like what led me to go into marketing, which is what I'm studying right now. So I think that's one of my biggest successes in the workplace.
I agree. That is really awesome. I've always said, learn when you make a mistake, you got to learn from it. Otherwise, what was the mistake for? So it's important to learn from those mistakes. So thanks for sharing that. Anyone else from group 1 want to share, or do you guys want me to pass it to group 2? Okay, someone from group 2 want to share?
I can share an experience. This is Laverne, aka Obstacle Slayer from the Greatness DMV line. I can share. I say when I went to college the first time, it's like I was ready, but then I wasn't ready. And so after 2 years, I was like, you know what, I can't. So I ended up coming home, ended up working for the federal government. My very first job was the job itself wasn't horrible. My review was so horrible. Because I didn't know because I hadn't worked, before. And so the guy who I worked for, he's like, you're doing a good job, but you're just not assertive enough. Don't wait for somebody to, give you something to do. You need to ask, be more assertive, go see if somebody needs something. I was crushed because I was like, oh my God, I'm about to get fired from the very first government job I had. But what I've learned from that, I'm very assertive, right? I'm very assertive now.
I know you are. But that's good.
but it was a good experience because you know, some people won't tell you, they'll tell you all the bad, but they won't tell you the good, but they won't give you the opportunity to try to fix it. And so from that very first job, any job I've had after that, I've always been assertive. You know, somebody needs something. Yeah, I got you. I can do it. Yep. Yep. And you know, I don't wait for anybody to bring me something to do. I usually would go ask if they need help with something. But that was the best learning experience for me.
Yeah, I like that. That is something that I struggle with sometimes, is being assertive. Y'all might not be able to tell because I know a lot of y'all know me.
You are not
Angie, Angie, don't look at me like that. I am assertive. Okay. But I am assertive. I mean, I struggle with being assertive. I just said I am, but I struggle with being assertive, and sometimes I kind of hide it, that I struggle with that. And it depends on, you know, who I'm speaking to, whether or not I'm that assertive person. So I totally get that. And thank you for sharing that as well, Laverne. So the reason, oh, did anyone else in group 2 want to share? Okay. So the reason why I did this was to let you guys know that sometimes when we kind of hit a stumbling block in our careers and we don't know why we're doing it anymore, or we feel like, hey, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe trying to figure out what you want to do in your careers, start to look at your shining moments. Think of 3 shining moments that you have had and help that guide you in your career, even your search for a new career, or in your search for making your career better that you're already in. Think about those moments that you were a shining star. So does anyone have any questions or any thoughts before we move on? And welcome, Angela.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, love.
Not you, the other Angela.
Oh,
Welcome.
hey, Angela. Hey, Lisa.
Okay, y'all. So let's move on. So today we have Angela McKinney with Angela's Angels LLC on to join with us today, and she is going to be the guest speaker. And Angela, go ahead and take it away.
Okay. Well, good evening, ladies. Thank you so much for joining, giving us your time on a Sunday. Angela's Angel LLC is a nonprofit for military veterans and their family members transitioning from active duty to the civilian sector. I am retired Navy, and I was a military police officer. So I actually selected a whole different career. And doing so, I had to figure out how I can help my fellow armed forces members how to transition, because I didn't have anybody to tell me anything. So I was that person at work, still acting like I was in the military, talking like I was still in the military. If you have rank and you talk like that, profanity, professional, you name it, I was doing it, and nobody could tell me anything because I didn't have anybody to mentor me or to educate me. And I also came up with LLC because of the benefits that our veterans and their family members have. If you're not in sync with that before you retire or before you discharge or before you move, I joined the military at 18. So this was the first time I was out on my own and nobody really told me anything. So I learned, like Antoinette said, from trial and error. Being a person that asks a lot of questions, because my name is Inquisitive, that's my line name. I feel like a question not asked is an answer not told. And what I mean by that is if you go through life and you don't ask questions, even when you feel like somebody else may get annoyed by the questions that you ask or anything, don't get discouraged. You still ask that question so you can execute what's required. So before I start the whole segment on resume, I want to share an experience with you. I started with the federal government shortly after I got out of the military. I started as a GS1 entry-level position. I made it all the way up to GS13. That was one of my shining moments. I was so excited. I wanted to be a retirement counselor. I wanted to help people, wanted to talk to people. And then one day I found myself stressed out in tears. My children were like, please don't go back to work. It was just horrible. And then COVID happened and I decided to quit my job. And everybody thought I had lost my mind because of the salary that I was willing to get rid of from my mental health. So through this process, I need you guys to understand that even though it's just resume writing, even though it's interviewing, your mental health and your ability to be able to facilitate your job and be effective, you have to be able to do that. And if you're not able to do that, you may need to step back and reflect and write down why you still want to be in that career. Because I've actually changed careers 4 times. And over the course of the last year, I've had 10 jobs because I didn't ask the right questions. And I found out after I had accepted that that's not really what I want. So that's a little bit me in a nutshell. I know it's a lot. So we're going to go ahead and start with the presentation. Now, during the presentation, if y'all have questions while I'm talking, or if I'm going too fast, you can say, hey, Angie, or Inquisitive, hold up, I got a question, or, make a statement. So it is interaction between everyone.
Before we go into that, I just want to thank you for that story. Y'all, I did not know that before. So
Yeah.
that is that was awesome to me. Kind of brought me to tears because I like to ask questions too. And I think questions are very, very important to know what you are getting out of that, especially when looking for a career. So I really appreciate you sharing that. So I am now going to share the PowerPoint again. Oh, shoot. Technical difficulties. One moment.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to talk about resume writing impact. As I stated before, my organization, Angelus Angels, LLC, we focus on transitioning military people, but I also help my friends get interviews. I help them with their resumes because there's key things that you have to do when you're writing your resume. You cannot use the same resume for every job that you apply for. It allows you to paint who you are on a paper. And what I mean by that is the employer does not have you in front of them. So the only thing they have is the document that you submitted. So if you submit a document and it has errors and misspelled words and the format is crazy and it's busy, I used to be a hiring manager for the Department of Defense. I wouldn't even read it because I have to read 1,000 other applications. Why am I going to sit up here and read a resume for someone that did not take the time to paint the appropriate picture for me? When I say paint a picture, if you're applying for a clerical job and the only thing you did before that, you worked in nursing, your resume should not be about nursing. It needs to be about what that job is asking you to do. What makes you the best candidate for the position? That's what I mean when I say paint the picture on a piece of paper. If you don't do that, you won't never get an interview. A lot of people go into submitting resumes and they go on Indeed and they just share their resume with everybody. That's smart, and then it's not smart because now your personal information is on the net, and that can cause problems. People can actually take your resume and change your name and put their name up there and use it. Employers, some of them, they'll look at the applications from, the websites like Indeed and Career Builder, but the candidates that really get the jobs are the ones that take the time to navigate their resume to what the employer is looking for. So that goes to my next point. It allows you to outline your strengths and showcase your traits. And what I mean by that is when you do an interview, the employer has all these questions. Most of the time, they're behavioral questions. They want to see how you interact. They want to see how you speak. They want to see how you respond, during pressure. When I say showcase your strength, you outline everything about you that makes you that candidate for that job, that makes the employer not want to look at anybody else's resume, want to call you right now and give you an interview. Probably not even interview you, just give you the job. That's how you want your resume to showcase your strengths. So an example of showcasing your strengths is if you are a good public speaker, that should be in your bullet point of resume writing. If you know how to navigate through all of these different high technology things, which I am not good at, that's something else that you can put on your resume to showcase, to let them know, like, this person is who I want. I want them, and they'll go to bat to get you that interview. So that's what I mean by showcasing. And then you need to have your contact information. And I know that sounds like common sense, but so many people submit their resume and they have their name in like a 20-foot font. There's no contact information. There's no email address. How is the employer supposed to call you? So you basically just gave them your pride and joy, your career on a piece of paper, and you don't even have your contact information. And it needs to be correct. And your email needs to be professional. I've seen emails called Deep Fish Sea, Hot Lady 3000. Like, no, that is not professional. It needs to be something like Angela McKinney at gmail.com. Something simple, something that is not going to make the employer be like, who is this person? And why would they submit a resume with inappropriate email addresses? Also, while we're talking about resumes, we need to really think about what you write on your resume. If you have 17 different fonts and all these different colors, you have to navigate your resume for the employment that you want. So if you're working for the State Department or you want to work for the State Department, you need to give them a resume that's going to show your professionalism, that you're neat, that you understand the formats. Now, some people graduated years ago. I know when I graduated from Bryan and Stratton with my associates, they gave us a resume. It was part of our graduation package. But then I went to Strayer and it was something completely different. And I was wondering why I wasn't getting no jobs. I was like, why nobody's calling me? It's because my font was wrong. And sometimes people cut and paste off of the job description. It needs to be uniform. So you can't have a 5 font and then down at the bottom it says 25. That's going to stick out on the paper, and the employer is going to be like, they didn't even take the time to fix, the outline of the resume. So that's what I mean by your resume writing impacts your ability to even obtain an interview. Does anybody have any questions about resume writing?
Angie, that really speaks to me. And if anyone else has questions, just unmute and talk or raise your hand or whatever. But that really speaks to me about allows you to outline your strengths and showcases and paint who you are on paper. Because on my resume, I was just putting my training experience and just putting all the training jobs, but I want to do more than that. I want to be more than a trainer. So I think that that's helpful to know that if you want to do something else, just put your transferable skills, right? Put your transferable skills onto
Right.
that resume as well, so that when an employer pulls a resume, then they'll be able to see what you have to offer them, right?
Right. You're absolutely right. You want to be versatile. You want to show the employer, not only did I do this, but I also can do that.
Mhm.
And relatable to the job that you're applying for. So if you're like me, I did a complete career change like 5 times. And each time I wouldn't encourage that, but transitioning from armed forces, military police officer to HR or financial technician is completely different. So I had to take police report writing. So you have to be able to write and, formulate emails to send to people to be able to communicate. So that was a transferable skill. I didn't put, apprehended suspects because I'm not going to be taking anybody down in the office. So they get smart. No, I'm joking, but I'm not going to be taking anybody down. So that's what Antoinette means by when she says transferable skills. You definitely want to showcase that. Only if it's volunteer work. Like, I'm a teen mom and I volunteer. I do fun. I do Zoom meetings. I do all of that. And I use that in my resumes when I'm applying for a job that requires you to be able to be assertive. I know one lady just said that. Or I'm sorry, one soror, I apologize. Being assertive, being able to, come together with the idea to be able to make money. That's marketing. It's so many ways that you can flip words. And that's why Antoinette has listed some sites that you guys references that you can see at the end for you to be able to look at. So you definitely want to take heed to the resume writing impact that you have before you secure an interview. So this
Laverne
is,
has a question. Sorry.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. What's your question?
So my question is, I work at the State Department, actually. I'm a contractor. So,
Okay.
like, okay, so like I have my resume, I mean, my information in LinkedIn and on Indeed. And I've heard two different versions of whether or not you should include that you have a clearance. Like I see some of my friends, they like, and LinkedIn, they put that they have a clearance, and I see some people they don't. And I know at the State Department, like you pretty much have to have a public trust on up.
Right.
Like I don't put on there that I have a clearance.
Okay. Well, it depends on what job that you're applying for. So the reason why I say that is because I've been a federal contractor, I've been a federal employee, and now I'm a state employee. So if you're going to the organization's actual website and you're filling out the application, absolutely put your clearance up there, because it gives you the ability to negotiate your salary from the jump. If you wait and try to do it on the back end, it may hurt you because another candidate might have already had it up there and they won't even look at you because you don't have a clearance. So look at the qualifications that they're saying that the job needs. I know if you go on USA Jobs, it'll say clearance needed. So you definitely want to put it up there because you just saved them $10,000 if they pick you, because getting the clearance is hard and keeping
It
it
is.
So
So-
definitely,
So, yeah.
you definitely, but don't put it on everything.
Well,
when
see,
you-
like right now, like if you were to go on LinkedIn and find
Mhm.
my name, you won't know that I have the clearance, but you know that I work at the State Department because I didn't specify it in in my profile.
I will not
but-
put it on. No,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
because then unfortunately by you having a clearance is stating that you have integrity, that you have the ability to obtain credit, and someone can steal your identity and apply
Right.
knowing because you already have a clearance. And then that's a
Okay.
whole headache, especially I know the Office of Personnel Management had a data breach a couple of
Yeah,
years ago,
exactly. Yeah.
and it drove me bananas because I had people telling me I had credit cards in California and stuff. I was like, what are you talking about? I don't have anything. So you want to protect yourself and you want to protect your clearance. But if the job states that you need a clearance, then you need to put it on your resume. If the job doesn't state that, that is something that you can, advertise once you get that interview and say, also I have a clearance, like throw it in there. Part of the
Right,
conversation.
okay, yeah. I was just curious, yeah, because I've seen even like paper like resumes, because the place I used to work, I would look at various resumes. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I would submit it automatically, because the job may not require a clearance.
Right.
So, but yes, it is like once you have it, it's best to keep it.
Trying to get it renewed so you don't have to go through that process again. I just went through it recently. My clearance was already active
Mhm.
before I left federal service, but then I just got offered a job with a contractor for the Pentagon and they made me do the clearance all over again.
Oh, so
Which-
because they weren't able to transfer it over.
Yeah, because I was leaving agency. So you want to make sure that when you write the clearance information, write it only where it's needed. So if
Right.
the job the clearance, definitely write it. If the job doesn't state it, you can say it on the interview.
Okay, yeah, I did go from one contractor to another, but I was still at the State Department, so that was a little easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do the whole thing over. Thank God. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay. Let me see. Internet.
Yes, I'm sharing now.
Okay.
One moment, please.
I did share with Internet, like I am not a fan of PowerPoint. I call it actually death by PowerPoint. I've been a retirement counselor and trying to click through 100 screens is a nightmare. If it's a nightmare for me doing it, I know it's a nightmare for someone to sit there and be like, is she really finna read this slide to me? So I don't read slides. I highlight what I'm going to speak about. So the next point is going to be, why is interviewing important? It provides you with stability. And what I mean by stability, a lot of people are like, what do you mean? How? It does, because it gives you the opportunity to see that you are a candidate for that position. if they took the time to offer you an interview, apparently you have the skills that they're looking for in order for you to be employed by them. So that gives you a sense of encouragement. Even if you get the interview and you don't get the job, you learn from what you did at that interview, and then you take that to your next interview. You take the good and the bad, because some employers, if they don't select you, they'll give you a reason why, and then some don't. So I'm going to share an experience with the interview that I had with a contracting position at the shipyard. I forgot the name of the shipyard, but I did the interview. The interview was at 2:00 in the morning. 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm sorry. All my line sisters know that I am not a morning person. So from about the time I get there to about noon, I'm really quiet. I'm focused. I'm doing my work. I'm trying to get it done. But during the interview, I was bubbly. I was funny. And they were asking me, how did I deal with people every day? But long story short, they gave me the job. And they were like, they love my personality. They love my approach. I'll be a great fit for the organization. So I went in the next day, mind you, at 8:00 in the morning. And I said, good morning. And I went to my desk. That's what you're supposed to do, right? So I went to my desk. I'm doing my work. And she's like, can you come in here for a minute? So I went in there. I'm like, yeah, how you doing? She's like, I'm good. She was like, we decided that today's going to be your last day. I think that's the quickest in history anybody could get fired. But she said the reason why is because you're not bubbly enough. So in my mind, I'm thinking, did you want me to come in here with a tutu or something? Like, what do you mean I'm not bubbly enough? Like, it's 8:00 in the morning. You haven't asked me any questions. You haven't said anything. But she was like, well, during your interview, you were so upbeat. And I'm thinking to myself, it was 2:00 in the afternoon. It's 8:05. Like, what do you want from me? So it does provide you stability because it gives you the opportunity to see what you. So that means that in the event, if you're doing, I don't know what just happened. Sorry. I told y'all I'm not good with electronics. Sorry. So the next point is allow you to determine if the company is the right fit for you. Just like you're on an interview, that company's on an interview, because you can be like, oh no, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So you ask those questions to find out if you're a good fit. So you're not constantly interviewing and selecting jobs that are not the right fit for you. And what I mean by that is they'll ask you, do you have any questions at the end? And the question that I always ask is, what type of employee don't you want? Because if you describe me as the employee that you don't want, then I don't need to work here because you're going to end up firing me anyway. So that's the time, that's your opener to say, hey, by the way, I have a security clearance. Oh, and by the way, what type of employees have you let go in the past? So I make sure I don't go down that path. And then at that point, they can see why or, what they don't like. And that will also help you determine if you even want the job. Because how many people have applied for jobs and you thought it was one thing, get there, and it's something completely different. It's like, wait a minute, I don't want to do that. Or the pay is not what you thought it was because it was a misprint. So these are the times that you ask for questions. So you're interviewing them, but they're also interviewing you. You get a better understanding, like what the company is looking for. So you can tell by the people. Normally, when you go on an interview, you might have a panel. You might have 3 women and 2 guys. You might have all women on the interview. You may only do it virtually. It's so difficult to express yourself virtually than it is to do it in person. So you get an understanding of what they want. Like, this is the time where you tell them, like, I want to be a financial technician. And you go to an interview, they give you the job. They give you the breakdown of the job description. And you realize, even though they named it as a financial tech, you're doing nothing in regards to financing. That is the part where you can say, you know what, maybe this is not for me, or let me take a minute and rethink what I'm finna get myself into, because all of that is very, very important. That's pretty much resume writing and interviewing in a nutshell. It's a lot of information, but basically when you interview, it gives you an opportunity to practice. Sometimes I take interviews just so I can practice, so I can ask questions, so I can see what's out there, what's hot, So I could tell the veterans, I could tell their family members, I could tell my friends, like, this is what the company is looking for. Because I interviewed for Google, and when I went to interview for them, went in this office, there was a bean bag and some chairs, and they were like, okay, have a seat. So I sat in the chair. That wasn't the job for me because they didn't pick me. And they said they didn't pick me because I didn't sit on a beanbag. They need people to think outside of the box. So every day is an interview. Even once you have the job, you're still interviewing to keep that job because you are replaceable as everybody is. And it's hard to take that, especially if you're good at what you do and you're passionate about it. But you have to remember that, like, you got that job, you have to continue to do what you did to keep it. And I've been in situations where I did not do that, and it hurt me. Excuse me, I have a 6-year-old. I apologize. I'm almost done. Hi. Sorry. So it gives you the opportunity to see where you need to fix. Or, like, I know somebody shared that the boss told them, you're not assertive enough. And those are the times where that's an interview. If you're down and you're doing a performance evaluation, or you've been placed on a performance evaluation plan where they're threatening to take your job, because I've been there, because I didn't know how to talk to people, and I didn't know how to be professional at all times and not wear my emotions on my sleeve. And that caused me to lose a position that I really wanted. So you have to remember, every day is an interview. When you go to work and the boss is all happy and she says, or he says, good morning, you have to say good morning, whether you feel like it or not. Yes. What's the best way to Internet, read the question, because you don't want me to start clicking on stuff.
Okay. I think it was directly to you, but
Okay.
if whoever sent it, could you send it to me as well?
Oh,
I
can
do
just
want
say,
to-
I can
okay.
just say what it is. I'm sorry. So this is the one question, and that I find that every person that interviews you will ask you this one question. They'll ask you about your strengths. And I'm like, yeah, I can do this, da, 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 da. But they always ask you, what are your weaknesses? And what I'm trying to figure out, what is the best way to answer that question? Because I've actually been honest with somebody, and I told them, like, look, my weakness is, okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't like to file.
Okay, can I answer that?
No, but
first?
it wasn't a bad thing. It's not I like the file stack up, but the filing, you put a piece of paper aside. And I told him, I said, I don't want to lie. I said, but if you want me to be honest, I said, well, filing is a big thing, because especially when you're that person they go to and you're busy, filing will get get stacked up. Because I actually came into an office where somebody did not file stuff for like 6 months, and I had to go fix it. And I had to fix that, and I had to revamp 6 file cabinets. And we're talking about an HR department of 2 people. And the main person didn't do the filing.
Laverne, I would say to think of something that's a weakness that is not really a weakness. So what I typically say is that I'm a perfectionist, and the reason why I don't say this, but the reason why I'm a perfectionist is because sometimes I procrastinate. I realize that I procrastinate because I want things to be perfect. So therein lies me being a perfectionist. So when I say I'm a perfectionist, I add on to it. The reason why that's a weakness is because sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to turn in work because I want it to be perfect. So kind of put a spin on it. Don't make it a really weakness, like I'm late all the time, but make it something that's a good thing that you can spin into kind of a weakness. Go ahead, Angie.
Absolutely. You're right. You know what I say? I'm bad at names. That's true. It really is. I'm horrible. But what I do now is every time I see a person, I say, you know what? I forgot your name. Can you tell me again? And then I repeat it until I learn it. So that shows them that I'm aware of what my weakness is. And it's not that bad, but I'm also doing something to fix it. So you have to turn the spin on it. Anytime an employer asks you something negative, there's nothing negative. How was your day? You could have got into an accident. Your kids could have made you mad. You could have got in an argument with your best friend. But when you go on an interview, today is wonderful. It's beautiful outside. You have to sell the type of person that they want to be around, because you spend as much time as work as you spend at home. So you're not going to hire someone that you feel like can't communicate and be professional all the time. So if you go in there and you be like, today was horrible. This lady cut me off. I didn't get my donut before I came. And like, nobody wants to hear that. So you have to remember, like Antoinette said, put a spin on it. So, and they do ask that. And I've heard some stuff. I was like, no, she didn't say that. Oh, I was late. Oh, I don't like working with women. I don't really like men. I'm not a team player. It's like you
Oh
want to.
gosh, I would never say that part. I mean, it hasn't hurt me though in jobs, because now with technology, I mean, nobody really files paper.
Right.
But it was like one of the things I'm like, because either I sit there, I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want to, I figured the longer that I take to answer that question, then they're like, okay, her weakness must be she's unsure of herself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Because we're transitioning to everything being online, I'm a person that is very anal retentive when it comes to paperwork. So you didn't lie. You just didn't tell them the full truth. You just told them that you don't like paper. I don't like paper either, but you have to make sure that you say it and it's convincing. So you can't be asked a question and go, if you don't know the answer, you always need to say, can you repeat that question again? That gives you time to, figure out what you're going to say. Because sometimes people answer before thinking, and what comes out, it should not come out. And you'll mess up on something that you might really be good at because you didn't ask them to repeat the question. Or you can be like me, just ask the question, well, can you give me an example of what you mean? And then that gives you more time to figure out what you want to say before you say it.
okay, thanks.
So I have someone on here, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Regina, could you please tell me what you have told me about interviewing, and like whenever you don't get the job, but you're still doing interviews and going through interviews, please?
Sure. I always tell you that each interview is an opportunity. And if you don't get the job, it's not your job.
Absolutely.
So every job is not for you, but every opportunity you can take and take to the next place. Does that make sense?
Love
And
it.
that's what you're talking
Yes.
about, the thing that I say, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So she's always saying this because when you have an interview and you get denied for a job, always ask for feedback. Some places don't get feedback, but some places do, and you can use that to help better yourself for the next interview, for the next job. So don't take that as a negative thing. Just keep going and use that feedback to help you. It's like think of it as like a rehearsal or a practice.
I also tell her too that you have to remember that everybody won't like you,
Mhm.
but you still are the bomb. You're still that bright, smart, educated, wonderful person.
Absolutely.
And just because they don't particularly see it, or they may have somebody else already in mind.
See, that's women's empowerment right there. Thank you for sharing.
Yes. That happens a lot though, where they have to put the interview out, especially with the federal service. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how many times I've put jobs out and I already knew who we were going to pick, but by law, you have to advertise it. So if you feel like, I was really a good candidate, and then you ask for feedback and they don't give it to you, maybe you ain't want to be there anyway. You definitely don't want to go to a job where you hate going and it bothers you to get up in the morning. That's when you start running into other things. We are educated women. We work twice as hard because we are women. So you always need to be comfortable in your skin and what you're doing. It's a difference between being confident and being arrogant. And a lot of people it's a thin line, especially during the interview, because you can say something and it can be taken out of content and you can lose that job. But then, like Antoinette said, you learn, or Miss Regina said, and then you take it to the next interview. Like, well, maybe I shouldn't have told her, I'm a team player, but I like working better alone. So maybe the next time I'll say, I'm a team player, but I also work alone pretty well too. That's being honest, but that's not telling them, something that you're not able to work with people. So you have to remember, one thing I did forget, when you interview, please be mindful of what you wear. And the reason why I say that is because you have people, like I have a pair of Snows. It depends on where you're working at. Working in HR, you're the front of the company. The company sees you first. So if you have tattoos all on your face and all on your arm and all over your body, that's distracting during the interview. So you can answer a question right and they didn't even pay attention to it because of what you have on. Like I've seen these eyelashes that are so distracting where it looks like they're gonna fly away while they're talking. And I can't focus because it's too much going on. So you want to make sure that when you go on an interview that you're dressed professional, that you look at the job and you look at, the type of environment that you're going to be in. I always tell a lot of my friends, they wear stilettos. I'm too old for that. I'm not doing that. My feet hurt. But when you wear shoes like that, they make noise. So if you're walking down the hallway, all you hear is click, click, click. That is so annoying. After about 15 candidates, you're like, if she got heels on, I'm not picking her. It's just the little small things. The lipstick that you wear, you don't want to be too revealing. Like I've seen people come to interviews and it's a panel and it's 2 men and 3 women and they got all their cleavage out. And the man is looking, not listening. And the woman is just like, is she really coming to interview for that? So you want to make sure that you're dressed apart for what you're there to do, which is to get a job. And you want to make sure that however you dress during the interview is how you dress when you come to work the first day. Because I've seen people wear, a 3-piece suit. Now, I'm not saying you need to wear a 3-piece suit every day, but then they come to work on Monday and they got on some jeans and a shirt that's faded with a hole in it. Like you don't go to work like that. That's something that's very important. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, well, I do want to share some resources with you all because this is what I do. So I'm going to share some job resources with you. So one thing that I found was I'm not sharing, am I? Oh, yes, I am. One thing that I found was great interview tips from the U.S. Department of Labor. This is a great site. It has a lot of good interview tips, and it really has a lot more than what I've found in other websites. It's straight to the point, and it gives you different things. There's different levels, and it's really good. So it's https ://www.dol.gov, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to send out the links via email to everybody, so you don't have to write them down now. But I'll send that out to everyone that joined today. The other thing that I think is an awesome resource is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not just a social site. It's very awesome. iPhone, what are you doing here? iPhone, do you need some help? It looks like you're trying to do something on the PowerPoint. Okay, well, LinkedIn, it allows you to network with other people. You can find people that are just like you or people that are even in your industry that you want to get into. And you can join it, put your profile up. You can put your job strengths in there as well. So when recruiters are looking for people, they can find someone like you. You can put that you're looking for jobs, or you can put that you're not looking for jobs. And if you put looking for jobs, it'll also help recruiters see you. And it also will not let your current job know, as long as you have your current job in the LinkedIn. I see iPhone, you have a question, so I'll get to you in a second, Marie. And the last one is career exploration. So this site is awesome. It's jam-packed with so many different items. You can explore different career fields. You can explore your own career field. You can explore like where you should be based on a profile of yourself. This is really awesome. I was shocked that I stumbled upon this one when I was doing my research, but I would really highly suggest you go there for any level of your career. Yes, Marie, you had a question?
Do you have Angie? I believe that's your name, Angie, the one that gave the presentation. Do you have a copy of a resume that Antoinette can share or post that we can look at? An
Absolutely.
example resume?
I can forward that to Antoinette because she has all your email. I'll send you guys 3 different type of resumes, one for federal, one for state, and then one just corporation. And you guys can see the versatility in the resume, but it's actually talking about the same person, talking about me. And you can see the setup of it.
That's awesome. That was a good question. Thank you.
And I'll provide my contact information. So if you ladies need, help writing your resume, I do them. But I'll be happy to look at it and give you my suggestions if you're open to it.
And I will send out that her contact information as well to everyone.
Antoinette, I'll send it to you. What's today? Sunday. I'll
Mhm.
send it by Wednesday.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so I thank you everyone for coming today. I really appreciate all of you attending. And hold on, let me take off this. It looked like someone drew on here somehow. Oh shoot, I'm making it worse. Okay, well, disregard. Oh, there it goes. Okay. All right. So I really appreciate everyone coming today. And before we talk about my next webinar, I just want to see if anyone has any additional questions or anything that you would like to share. Let me know in just a moment. I'm going to share my contact information and Angie's contact information, and then we'll go into any questions or thoughts. So our next webinar will be empowering women to inspire others. And this is one that I'm going to love doing because I really like to inspire other people. That's the point of women's empowerment, is to inspire other women. So this one will be awesome. I'm going to skip December because December is really busy for a lot of people. So I don't want to tap into your family time and your gift giving time and all that. So I'll wait until January and we'll have a fresh start. It'll be at the end of January and you guys can start inspiring people in February, right? So please, I'll send out information about that in January. And so to get in contact with me, you can visit the website that went on to actually get to this webinar, which is www.weempowerher.org. And if you actually go there to the website, you can fill out information on there so that I'm going to create a newsletter. So I'm going to send that out to everyone that subscribes there. But I got to get some more people to subscribe. So please, please go there and subscribe. Also, you can contact me via Facebook at facebook.com/weempowerher21, or you can email me at Antoinette@weempowerher.org. And Angie, please let us know how we can reach you.
You can reach me at my email address, angels808@gmail.com. You can also email me this is my interview email, mckinneyangela59@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook. Just put my name in there, I'll pop up. Or you can give me a call at 757-348-9537. I'm always up, Antoinette and my line sisters will tell you that. So just send me a quick text because I do screen my calls. So if I don't know your number, I will not answer. So you can say that I gave you my information doing empowerment, and I'll be happy to help you ladies with anything that y'all need. I want y'all to be successful and to succeed. The sky is the limit, period.
And if you guys did not get that information, don't worry. I'm going to send out everything to you. So don't worry about trying to scramble to get a pen and paper to write that down. Now, before we go, does anyone have any other questions, thoughts, comments, anything you want to say?
I do want to say this. I really really love the idea that you do have to treat your job like a relationship. So you have to nurture it every day in order to appreciate it. So it's kind of like letting your job know that you love it
Mhm.
like you love your significant other or your child. So that really hit home for me. So thanks for that.
That's awesome.
Good. I wanted to share, I would like to share this. Life nowadays is really different. It's a lot of adjustments. It's a lot of things going on. It's the holidays. Angela's Angel also help people that suffer from depression, PTSD. So if you need resources in order to get help, you know, you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to give that information to you. Just believe in yourself. You are your biggest cheerleader. And I know sometimes it's hard because we're women and some of us are sensitive and some are not what people think you are, but you really are. And you hold everything in the inside, but you have to remember, in order for you to be able to move forward, you have to let go of the past. So anything that happened to you at a previous job, do not bring that to your next employer. And I've seen people do that and it becomes a disaster. You left that job, or that job left you for a reason. You take the good and the bad that you learn, and then you apply it to your next level of elevation, and you'll go far.
That's that. Oh, I love that. Thank you. See, we just empowering each other throughout throughout this whole thing, and that's what I love about this. That's what I love about doing it. I want to make sure that everyone feels empowered. Now, I'm not a job expert, so I didn't know how to empower y'all through learning about jobs and careers and all that kind of stuff. Because that's why I brought Angie on, and I really appreciate you for that. Does anyone else have anything to say?
Hey, I just wanted to mention, it's me again, Laverne. I just wanted to mention that when you were talking about the different things regarding, like interview, what to wear and, how you should look and all that, I did find that wearing perfume for an interview is, a friend of mine she works in HR, she recommends people don't wear perfume because you never know, one, you don't know how many people you're going to be meeting with, and two, you don't know who's allergic. So when I go to an interview, I don't wear any perfume, and I can't wear makeup because at least on the skin, I only wear eyeliner and mascara because everything else breaks me out. And I always make sure my nails look decent, but like perfume, yeah, I don't wear perfume on interviews. And I don't know if you've experienced that when you've inquisitive or Angela. I don't know if you've experienced that when you've done when you've conducted interviews.
Yes, cheap cologne, perfume. Don't
It's
wear.
distracting. It's distracting, and
Yeah.
sometimes somebody may be allergic to it, and they can't be in the room with you, and that might affect your chances.
Yeah, I actually had an interview with somebody, and it's funny because she was like the head, like she's like the VP of the department, and I automatically knew what perfume she was wearing because it was the same one that I wore, and thank God I didn't wear. It's Fendi. Everybody knows you only need a little dab. If you ever wore Fendi, you only need a little dab because it's super strong. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I didn't wear that because we would have been like, it would have been too much. So, but I know people like, and when you said like the dress code, I interviewed a girl at a different job. My boss asked me to sit in on the interview. The girl, she had a blazer on, but then she had a really short skirt on, and it had a split in the back, and she wore like the stilettos that you had like the silver tip, and if you know the tip of your shoe, like that it clicks on the thing. Now she actually got the job. But I mean, I guess, her skills were better than her outfit, but I'm like, whoa, I would not have worn that. So yeah, a lot of stuff makes a big difference you don't really think about.
It does. You're right. A blazer, short skirts, t-shirts, baggy pants. I don't want to see your underwear during the interview. What is going on? You should not have fronts in your mouth, veins. Like it's just, you shouldn't wear stuff like that. As far as the allergies are concerned, you're right, because that means you'll wear that every day and you're gonna give me a headache every day I see you. So I'd rather just not deal with you. Yeah. It's better not to wear anything heavy. I know some people, they love it, but I recommend in the office that you don't wear that anyway, because you don't know who's allergic to what. So
Yeah, we actually clashed one day in the office because I actually had a smidgen. I only put a smidgen of it on, and then of course she was in the office that day, and I knew she was there. I didn't see her, but I knew she was there because I smelled the perfume in the hallway, and I was like, oh god! But I already had the job then, so I was like, yeah, we can't wear the same cologne. Yeah. So, but thanks.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Well, if we don't have anything else, if you do have any other questions or concerns, reach out to me or reach out to Angela McKinney. We'll be happy to help you. And if I can't help you, I'll get it over to Angie because she can help you. So I really appreciate once again everyone coming out today and supporting me on your Sunday evening and supporting Angie as well. So thank you, everyone, and we will see you again in January. Bye.
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 Have a good one.
Thank you.